It means a lot to us that you've joined us in this collaboration, and thank you for your intense talent and craft to help us shape this song, which comes from the heart of our lead character, Aline, in a longer story called Bones of Crows.
Spiritual and mental and physical abuses happen in my life, but at a very young age, I had the gift of music. I remember being 5 years old.
It wasn't just something we wanted to do, it was something that was meant to happen, and meant to happen so that it could resonate, not just in one form, but as music and as collaborations between cultures and ideas.
I felt honored right away that we had the opportunity to play this very small part in the telling of this important story.
The power of the story is really told through the power of the music that it's accompanying it. And in this particular piece that we focused on, You Are My Bones, a wonderful composition and song by two super talented composers, Wayne Lavallee and Jesse Zubot. They've given us this wonderful tapestry and song and orchestration to perform.
We wanted to fuse those two worlds of having an Indigenous voice, contemporary Indigenous voice, and orchestration together, right? And Jesse was the perfect guy to do this.
Any note with those two slashes or tremolo?
For me, one of the most exciting things is bridging the gap between styles. I always find it creates like a powerful, unique sound.
The biggest thing is to trust in the artistic process, and I trust Jesse and he trusts me.
He was concentrating more on the lyrical content with Marie, who wrote the lyrics. And then Wayne was checking out the melodies. I helped guide those a little bit.
And we're in it to tell a bigger story.
The story is very, very heart-wrenching, and it's about basically the worst thing that's ever happened in Canada.
Oddly, I'd written the film and the series before the discoveries, the 215 and Kamloops. Strangely, sometimes stories have this synchronicity of the right time to be told.
I feel like this story is my story and a lot of our stories. Living in a world where I was affected by intergenerational trauma, not knowing my culture at a very young age, not knowing who I was. I've always used music as a tool to just get me through the next day or the next week. And I have all I have.
All these directions are going to make me cry.
I know, I'm trying to, but it's like that, right? Yeah. It gets intense because now you...
It's something that I'm rediscovering in my own history, because we all have family that survived residential schools. My passion for music comes from my grandmother. Even when her hearing was going and when her guitar was on a tune, she always played. So I think it was Michael Cum that gave me the biggest gift. My grandmother went to residential schools, but she loved music.
Hearing the stories of those that are in this project and knowing that those stories are repeated through so many that are involved in this just adds this real tremendous gravity to our involvement and kind of a gratefulness.
I suppose it's just one tiny little thing that I can contribute to sort of the reconciliation that's going on.
They asked me to come to bring in some of the traditional element and sort of like an ancestral realm with harmony. And I work with a team of healers in grief and trauma recovery for residential school survivors. So being a part of this is very special.
come from the ground up.
There's a certain logistic element to it to kind of realize the sounds that Jesse's hearing in his mind and Wayne's hearing, and to kind of make it come into reality, into the sonic world. And was it different for some of these players? Of course it was.
There was none of the sort of expressive elements written into the music that we're used to seeing. So we sort of put that together as we went.
I do like to not necessarily challenge people, but maybe just put them in a place that they might not be comfortable with, which is, yeah, just kind of do what you think for this moment. Boom. Kind of like sliding the notes a little bit almost.
You don't want it too rhythmic. It's just
not too on the beat there. I mean, in time, but
just no accent and no...
it sounded like the rhythms were played a little too literal. Just like really like. So
one of the fun parts was watching him demonstrate, because he was like, well, I'm trying to figure out how to write it, but all right, just do it like this. And so he was showing the violinist kind of some really cool, like circular bow techniques.
It's like a circular bowing,
which created a very eerie and uneven sound. And there was a fair bit of going back and forth to make sure that that actually worked successfully. But I think we did it.
And that was part of the charm, and that's part of the edge. That's why this was such a cool collaboration, is that we weren't just doing the same thing, or we weren't doing something we've done before.
So we can let this go for now.
Yeah, we could just take the best one, right? We didn't audition people for this role of the lead vocalist. Angel was handpicked from the very beginning by Marie. What Angel's singing is their own story as well. Angel was meant to sing this song.
What really made me feel like, oh, this is like really important work to be doing, was the first time I got to sing with the orchestra. I literally was like, oh, this is what your Gokam dreamed for you. This is what your grandmother wanted for you. This is what so many generations wanted for you. So to be able to do this is doing work that not only I wanted to see get done, but I get to contribute in this incredibly important work.
In a way, we're scoring a story and telling it in a different way, and in a way that people can receive it with a different part of themselves.
It's been magical. It's been like a ceremony.
Being able to tell a story in a way that only music can, I was just completely honored to be asked to be a part of it.
Music is meant to be a medicine for healing.
It somehow lets our minds stop thinking and opens our hearts.
It transcends everything.